What's going on, guys? Your host, your boy, George Mackay, back in studio again today, pre-recorded as I always do during these COVID-19 time periods. But this one is special. It's mid-November. It's actually mid-Movember. And I am sitting down now, I'm going to introduce him in a few seconds, but this gentleman is somebody that, much like myself, is pro-Movember. We want to spread news, we want to spread education, we want to help people understand exactly how important this cause is, but also how important men's healthcare, men's skincare, everything men is important. Because as much as it's all recognized on the other spectrum, we don't get enough love and enough appreciation. I mean, it takes a lot of work to make this look as good as it does, really does. So please help me welcome a gentleman who needs a little bit of an introduction, but if you know Battle Arts as well as I do, he is the current ring announcer for Battle Arts Pro Academy. He is a former marketing professional, 6 years experience with companies like Ford, Procter & Gamble. He's a radio broadcaster, so you may have heard him giving you those fantastic traffic and weather updates on Z103 News Talk 1010 here in the GTA Toronto. Please help me welcome to Straight Talk Wrestling, one half of my favorite skincare line. I shouted out a video about it earlier this year. Discreet Gentlemen, one half of the ownership, Michael Di Mascio to Straight Talk Wrestling. How are you, brother?
George, what's going on, buddy? It is Movember. Happy Movember to you, sir.
Happy Movember to you. Happy Movember to all the fine, distinguished gentlemen out there. So let's talk a little bit about Discreet Gentlemen and how you decided to get that started. I know you gave me a little bit of the backstory, but there's a lot of people out there that would definitely find the story as interesting as I did. So let's run down how Discreet Gentlemen, which is a fantastic skincare line, we're going to get into all the products that they deliver, but talk about how you decided to start this great line of products up.
Yes, and thank you for the accolades. Maybe it is just a recognizable voice. I have the face for radio, I'm told, but definitely the beard for Movember. So what ended up happening was at the height of the pandemic in March, this is a pandemic passion project of sorts. I got in touch with my buddy who is originally from the GTA here in Mississauga. He lives now in England, Vince. And I had lost my job because of the pandemic, like a lot of you at home. It was a rough time, and it continues to be even for me doing contract jobs here and there. And I called him and I said, let's do something near and dear to us. And we throughout high school friends, we used to share tips and I don't want to call them beauty tips, but it's not something that guys usually talk about. And that's where the name Discreet comes from. It's taking care of your skin. And keeping it in discreet fashion and trying to bring back that gentleman-like in a modern sense. We don't need to bring back every single thing of a different time, but there's some things to be said about being a gentleman, being that chivalrous person that you can be, and also taking care of yourself. Because as much as they like to say back in the day they didn't take care of themselves, people took photos and that was a big deal for them, and they got their hair cut and they took care of their appearance for those things. So it not all is lost, and that's really the start of Discreet Gentlemen. Two friends with the same passion for looking their best, I guess, if you want to put it in a nutshell.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to put it. And some of the great products that you have is you have awesome line of beard oils, which I mean, I don't use. It's a goatee. I don't really have.
I got it on right now, actually. I just put some on. Where is it? Here it is. We got the tobacco and citrus, the rain flavor. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Perfect. No, that's fine. I was just going to say that the beard oils don't really fit for me because I can't grow a beard. This is the best I can do, and this took about 6 years to grow. I have the I don't grow hair like everybody else, so I'm unlucky in that aspect. I wouldn't like a beard either, though, because my dad has a beard, and I try to distinguish myself as far away from my father as possible in terms of how I present myself.
Got it.
But you got the beard oils, the balms, the soaps, the scrubs, the natural deodorant, and my favorite product, which is the Tattoo Salve, which I used actually. This is a tattoo, if everyone could see. This is a tattoo I got made 11 years ago. It was faded. It was almost irrecognizable, but I put that balm on every day, and man, does it come out looking spanking brand new. And that's how great the product was. That was the video I shouted out earlier. If you go back on my Instagram, you guys can see it. But the products are phenomenal. And I love the name, Discreet Gentlemen. Want to take care of ourselves, want to look good, but we don't need to brag about it to the world. We're not Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore. We don't have 95 different scrubs to make ourselves look good.
Yeah, my wrestling persona as Michael Di Mascio does not come out in Discreet Gentlemen. I like to keep it on the DL, and the tattoo salve or salve, as you pointed out, it's two pronged. It brings back the shine, and it's also really good for the healing because it has a lavender oil in it. So I was with a family friend yesterday who just got some ink done in the GTA, and I went down to their shop, and he was showing me how he's been applying it and how he's been using it more of a healing, not so much as a shine, but it has both effects. It's got a whole host of oils and butters in it that give it that shine.
Absolutely, and it's great. More talk to me about some of the other stuff, the natural deodorant. So let's actually talk about the beard oil there for a second. You said the tobacco and citrus, the rain flavor. Do you have
Yeah,
any other kind of scents that you guys sell?
Yeah, the most popular one is the King one. It's your more traditional sandalwood flavor. There's also another zest flavor, but you can check it up at discreetgentlemen.com. There's a whole host of scents. My favorite is the one I'm wearing, the rain one, because it's that manly tobacco citrus, like kind of musky flavor. And when you talk about beauty regimens, it's not so manly of me. So I try to offset that and do as many manly things as possible. Get dirty and rub some dirt on myself and take a few bumps in the ring too, if they'll let me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. We'll segue away from the product lines now and everything you guys offer, Discreet Gentlemen. We'll get into the website and all that stuff later. But I'm curious to the backstory of becoming a ring announcer. You have a radio voice, much like myself, and we both have faces for radio. But these days, people like to see everything that we're talking about on the screen. Hence why Zoom and Skype and all that stuff is a great asset and tool, especially if you want to grow multiple different platforms for this wonderful world of podcasting. But let's talk about the backstory for you and the ring announcing. I know your history with wrestling. I know where you kind of segue and where you kind of your passion is for, and that's definitely the Attitude Era. As most of us in the same age bracket, that is the kind of area or the time period that we resonate with the most. But how did you get hooked up with Battle Arts in terms of the ring announcing? And like I've seen you in a couple shows. I saw you at the parking lot show back in September. You always come out dapper with the suit, everything looking good, on point as always. And I saw you at the show in March, right before the pandemic. That was the two shows that I have seen you at since, because obviously there was that whole time period in between where we couldn't do any of that stuff. But talk to me about the ring announcing and how you decided to go to approach wrestling into that avenue.
Yeah, wrestling was always been something of a kind of a childhood experience, almost to a point of obsession, like a lot of young boys, I think, through elementary school, and then probably up until 2002, WrestleMania X8. That's kind of where I stopped watching. I was at the event at the Sky Dome. It was electric, the most incredible experience possible in terms of matches to see live with Hogan and The Rock. But being on air and trying to find different avenues to stay prevalent, especially with the pandemic. I had been knocking on Anthony's door for a little while, showing up, and perhaps maybe he hadn't heard me on Z103, so he kind of said, "Okay, you know what? We have a ring announcer for our pro show. We need someone for our Rising Stars show. How about you come out?" And this was during that pandemic show in March, and give it a shot, and let's see how it goes. And then, of course, I almost tripped falling into the ring on my initial introduction after he sold the hell out of me and put me over with the crowd. And I did my best to respect the business, because I really have a lot of respect for the business, and just because I'm not really following today's product doesn't mean I'm not listening to podcasts. And Instagram's actually been a great tool to be reminiscent of the Federation years and the Attitude Era, like you referenced. So I guess I won Anthony over in that first pandemic show. I remember using and throwing Lysol wipes into the crowd and toilet paper, to play off the pandemic, and just tried my best to get over. And I'm still looking for my catchphrase. You were there at the parking lot show. There was a whole host of injuries. So I'm still working on something, but don't try this at home. Seems to be the one that resonates the most, just with how many people went down in that show as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a sign of ring rust, right? That's a sign of not being in the ring every day, not taking the bumps every day, not doing the stuff every day. And when you work out, you stay in shape, as all the fantastic roster of the Rising Stars and the pro wrestlers did. But again, a wrestler's body is meant to literally take insurmountable amounts of punishment, 5, 6, 7 days a week. So when you're going from wrestling, I've talked to a lot of wrestlers, Josh Alexander, for example. He's mentioned to me a few times that, wrestling for 2 days, then being off for 4 days and going back to wrestle, it hurts 10 times more because your body's not used to it. Your body doesn't grow that thick skin, if you will, that wrestling armor to prevent the serious injuries. So yeah, I mean, injuries do happen. It's a part of the business, part of the game, and anybody that steps in the ring, they know that. But despite the injuries aside and how rough, I mean, the weekend was in terms of what happened to the talent, it was still two great shows. I wasn't at the second one, but I was definitely at the first one on the Saturday night. And it was two great shows. A lot of title changes we got to see, a lot of different aspects of certain talent coming back. And my highlighted match for me on the Saturday show was Scarlett Delgado versus Elena. I mean, that was probably match of the night for me, next to Stan Smith's match for his light heavyweight championship. Those were two great matches, great storytelling, and you introduced them both fantastically. It's not easy to do what you do either, because a lot of times you're the guy that's got to keep a crowd entertained, or you're the guy that unfortunately has people walking out on them because they're going to the bathroom, or they're going to do this or going to do that. So it's not easy to be the ring announcer in that stuff. But the first time you walked through the ropes, and the trip aside, when you looked at the crowd and stuff like that, did you feel a little overwhelmed at that point? You're like, damn, this place was packed, because I was at that show, and that show had at least easily 200 people in the building that night. They were all screaming their heads off because there was the battle royal. There was all kinds of craziness going on. And it must have been overwhelming your first time to have a packed house, because capacity there is about 250.
Yeah, it helps with the lights off, and I think that was the big deciding factor between the outdoor show and the first show in March. Is the lights are down, people are feel free to make more noise. And as soon as Anthony hands the mic and I smashed the shit out of the turnbuckle, I felt at home in the squared circle, and I said, let's do this now. I mean, it was an audition of sorts for me. Little did I know that they didn't have a ring announcer prior to that, but that was the big gag. And that's I think one for the boys where they worked me over, where all the wrestlers were coming up to me after the show. It's like, oh, it's so great to have an announcer back on our show. And I said, well, Anthony said you guys had one. And like, no, man, we haven't had one for like 6 months. So he's been doing some of the announcing and some of the color commentating and doing double duty. So yeah, they ribbed me pretty good. And it's a bit of a rite of passage from what I start to understand when I really start to do the research and I watch my shoot interviews. And it's like ribbing is, it's all part of the whole show. And yeah, it was a great experience. And keeping the crowd's attention, it helped having action figures to throw out and all that other kind of stuff. And it was a lot of fun, and I felt right at home. And I was really happy to be back in the summer doing those outdoor shows, because I think it was important from a mental health perspective. And that's, in line with what everybody's going through right now. It was so important to do those shows, injuries aside. There were two really good shows, and the Destiny show was on during the day as well. So there was a lot going on. And it was just kind of a signal of an intent that as soon as we can, we'll do another one. And I guess that's kind of the impression I'm getting from the new owners as well.
Yeah, I actually sat down with AC last week, and his episode will be dropping in the beginning of December. And it's great to hear about what they're doing and the initiative that they're putting, and how much they're really making Battle Arts the Ontario Performance Center. That's what he called it. That's what he labeled it. And I believe that to be true. It is Mecca. I mean, the Don Koloff Arena is Mecca. It's Mecca in Ontario, Indy. There's been so many great talents for both Battle Arts and Destiny, Revolution Women's Wrestling. There's so many promotions that's run out of that building. And now to add HWE to it, I mean, that's just another tip in the hat and another roster that we can tap into and see those kind of indie dream matches where we couldn't see them before, because sometimes two different rosters, they never really collide. So it's great to see that the potential is there for all kinds of stuff. And to go back to what the conversation is really about though today is, we'll get into the wrestling again a little bit later, but let's talk Movember. Let's talk men's health, men's mental health, men's skincare, all that stuff. Discreet Gentlemen, I mean, is a great line of products, and we'll get back into some of the products listed later on with all the different scents and stuff you have and the website and stuff. But Movember, what is Discreet Gentlemen doing for Movember? What's your initiative for this month that is all about men's health?
Yeah, thanks for giving me a chance to talk about it. Yeah, a lot of times people associate just growing a mustache with prostate cancer, but Movember is much more than that. It's about men's mental health as well, and dealing with struggles. And I think mental health is such a hot topic right now, with gyms being shut down, restaurants being closed or limited capacity at that. So what we're trying to do at Discreet Gentlemen, and we've had a lot of success in the first month of this, we thought people might be on the fence of investing in maybe some of our skincare line, but we thought that if we aligned ourselves with charities that are near and dear to us, it'll make Discreet Gentlemen more endearing to our audience. So in the first month, last month, we raised money, and we had $1 of every sale going towards the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Obviously, October being Breast Cancer Awareness, and it made a lot of sense to align with Movember, an agency that I've worked with. It's actually one of their headquarters is based in Toronto, so there's opportunities for a lot of people to start their own Movember funds. What we're doing is very similar to what we did last month at Discreet Gentlemen. $1 of every product sale will be donated at the end of the month to Movember, regardless of what product necessarily you buy. Outside of that, there's a lot of good stories on Movember.com that you can go and check out, and everybody has their own personal journeys and struggles. I got really in tune with that foundation actually 2 years ago. I did a charity boxing tournament that I was part of in the marketing agency, and we raised a whole lot of money for that event. And they take you and they show you stories of people struggling with prostate cancer and how it affects the family. And it's a well-worthy cause, and we're happy to align with them. And for me, more so this year, it's about the mental health aspect more so than the prostate cancer. The cancer sucks. We know that it affects everybody on so many different levels. But I think what's really lost in the conversation this year is the mental health aspect. There's a lot of people stuck at home. People can't work. People feel unproductive. They don't have any passions to pursue. So hopefully, if they see this story, even about two friends that just invested some money, put their name behind a product after finding success with a trimmer. That's really what it started as. We found this trimmer, we started importing it. We said, okay, we made a little bit of money. We've broken even now. Let's put our name behind something. And our creator is an engineer here in Mississauga who has a big grizzly beard, and he's been tampering with different sort of solutions after using mustache wax and not being able to cut through it with regular soap. And that's how he came on our soap and our African black soap, which is one thing I recommend everybody to try first and foremost. It's life-changing, I think, and it really softens your skin, whether you have facial hair or not. But to get back to the point at hand, yeah, mental health is a big thing this year, and I'm really glad that Movember pushes that awareness button.
Absolutely, and it's something that no matter what month, it can't just be recognized for 1 month. It should be recognized all year round. Mental health for all people, men, women, children, even animals, pets, dogs, cats. They all go through their own mental health struggles. So every living being on this planet needs to be recognized for mental health, and needs to understand it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to share your thoughts and your feelings, and they're not wrong because they're your thoughts and they're your feelings. And they matter.
Right.
They matter. So everyone who's watching this episode, understand that they matter. And this is a great initiative. This is somebody that I wanted to highlight on the show, and I wanted to bring on because, like I said, this is going to drop on November 17th. So we're going to be about midway through the month at that point, but still going on for the entire month. $1, no matter what product you buy. And what's the price point, Michael, on some of the products?
Yeah, so I always say start with the soap. You're looking at $19.99 for that. Some of our more pricier products are like our coffee scrubs, and you're getting into the $25 range. Outside of that, we're just getting back in stock this week our own version of a manscaping tool, which I'm really excited for. A lot of people in my circle have already put their Christmas list and wishes in. It's called our Discreet Manhood. It's a waterproof trimmer, essentially body groomer, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. And obviously Manscapers is a big competitor out there in the market. Ours is half the cost of that. We found that the patents expired on that, and we found our own, and it's very similar in a skin safe technology, reminiscent of our sort of lawnmower, their version, I guess you could say. So I recommend anybody, if they've been kind of on the fence of even body grooming, to give ours a shot, because it's half the cost, and it works just as well. It's USB charged. You can bring it in the shower. You can keep it nice and trim and tidy for your significant others during the holiday period. What more can I say without getting into innuendos? But Outside of that, I don't know if it's a PG show. I already kind of cursed when I said the turnbuckle thing. I don't know.
It's okay. A lot of people listen, a lot of people swear on this show. I swear on the show. So I'm going to break the ice for you to make it 10 times easier. It's fucking K, Michael. You're good, bro. You're good.
Thank you for fucking swearing, George. Now all of a sudden, I was a good guy. I was a baby face. Now you're going to make me turn heel. I was already going to do a heel turn on you because I heard your big intro to Scarlett. You're trying to put me, you're trying to bury me and become the announcer. So I'm getting my urban blue blazer out here, man. This is how I go shopping at the malls. This is You think you can come into my neck of the woods and try to take my job, all right, as an announcer? I don't think so, buddy. I don't think it's happening. I just wanted to let you know that.
Then you know what? Let's throw a showdown because I got a line in with AC just like you got a line in with AC and Dave. Okay, I got a line in too. So I say this: the next show challenge, one night only, 2 ring announcers, alternating matches, alternating announcing, and we finally see who the rightful ring announcer might be. Are you down for that if the shows come back?
I accept your challenge, George.
Perfect. That's wonderful. But now let's get back to
we got that out of the way.
Let's get back to the harmony of bromancing. Okay? Get back to the harmony of bromancing. So talk to me about some of the other flavors and the other things that you offer. So we talked about the soap. We talked about the manscaping tool that you have. What about the beard oils? How many different flavors do you have of that? Plus the balms, the scrubs, and a natural deodorant.
Yes. So So the natural deodorant, you're looking at, actually, a quick story about natural deodorant. That's our there's a lot of questions around that and the importance of natural deodorant. So with the natural deodorant, it's not a block of any sort. The idea of this is to have your body build up its own bacteria and eventually fight odor on its own. So it is aluminum free. It is, once again, water-based. We have a couple of different aloe-based oils that kind of go into making this. And we have the eucalyptus scent, which your big sponsor, Don't Overpay Buy from Ray uses. He's a eucalyptus scent man. I prefer the unscented one just because I'm trying to get my body used to it and building it up on its own. And if you're a cycler, I've been talking to a lot of people in the cycling community. They're using it as an anti-chafing agent as well. So they're using it all over their body. And that's quite all right with us because it is natural. It is paraben free. And it is vegan as well. So that's just the lowdown on the natural deodorant. We have a couple of scents of that, not as many as the beard oils and beard balms. I think we're looking at over 5 scents for the beard oils and beard balms. So whatever you find in terms of scents on the beard oil side, you'll also find on the balm with the more paste base, which my business partner Vince swears by. I like the oil more; it gives you that shine. The balm is more for the bigger beards that are, I guess, harder to manage, and you kind of use it more of as a conditioner, I guess you could say. One product I don't have is our mineral mask. That's something you would use maybe more once a week. Cool story behind that is we have an elderly lady in the northern parts of Ontario that kind of sources those elements. And so those aren't always readily available. We try to do big shipments of that from at different points in the year. And that's what helps kind of build the foundation of our mineral mask as well. That's something more, you kind of want to, after scrubbing your dead skin, and that's what the coffee scrub does. You kind of put that in your regimen, scrub your skin, and then you apply the mask afterwards to kind of hydrate your skin as well.
Fantastic. And where can everybody find these amazing products? Because you know what, it is going to be mid-November, and as much as Movember is important, let's not forget what's right around the corner is Christmas. And even though this year has absolutely sucked and Christmas kind of signals the tail end of a rather rough year in the history of humanity and the world as a whole, Christmas time is a time to kind of remember that it could be worse. And as long as you're healthy and happy and safe, that's the most important thing. Because everyone is going, and we all have to remember that everybody is going through all this together. Now, I'm an essential worker. My full-time job is a transport dispatcher for a food company, so I have been blessed to be steadily working through this whole time period, but a lot of people aren't as lucky, and I understand that. And my heart goes out to everyone out there that isn't. But for something like this, with all these price points are fantastically affordable, where can everybody find all these wonderful products?
DiscreetGentlemen.com is the place to be. It is pandemic proof. And that was another reason why we started as an e-commerce store first. We didn't want the overhead. We wouldn't have been able to survive in this economic climate. It just wouldn't have happened. So from there, you can actually check on some cool stories as well when you're perusing through the different grooming with our skincare. And then there's also some leisure items as well. We're big into the cigar smoking culture as well. I was going to do my best Mark Henry and come in here smoking one, but as you know, in Ontario, it's been kind of cold the last couple of days after some really November to remember weather.
Yeah,
so I gave you the herb.
Plus 24s, and now we're back to like fucking minus almost. I think it was -1 this morning. It's freezing my ass.
Yeah, it felt like. Yeah, I was going to do the interview outside. I was going to puff a Cuban for you, but yeah, not going to happen. I'm a fair weather smoker, and I'm a pretty boy at heart. And that's why. Thank you for looking my best. Yeah, I hope to at least be the best dressed announcer, if not the best announcer, when we go head to head, mic to mic.
It'll happen, and it'll be good. I bet you it'll draw more than the town on the card. No, fuck that. We won't draw anything. The town on the card.
Hey, you know what? The Fink, when he took on his guys, man. I love that. When I went back in the archives, and then what was it? Tony Chamel, he was one of my favorite announcers as well. And, we lost Howard Finkel this year. So, right on point with where we want to be. I can't take the bumps like getting it, or as Anthony actually puts it, when you were talking before about how you were getting your body accustomed to it. He said it's like getting into a car accident every single day of your life when you take those bumps. So, yeah, I get it. When it's better to work 4 straight days than 4 days and then take 2 off. You're better working 7 days a week, 2 shows a day. Yeah, man, we saw so many injuries the second show. Luckily, nothing too serious, but we had to throw those X's up a couple of times on the Sunday show outdoor, and it was scary for me. And then, like you said, how the hell are you going to keep the audience's attention after? After somebody just saw a paramedic come and take a wrestler away, their hero, or this is not part of the show. But accidents do happen, and it's not ballet out there.
No, it isn't. But it is an art form. It is a dance. Every time I sit down and I talk with somebody that steps in that ring, I always mention the art form and the dance and the story that's told. And sometimes chemistry works, sometimes chemistry doesn't. And you know what? To talk wrestling now for a second, a lot of people hold the Attitude Era near and dear to their heart. Anybody that's a wrestling fan really says, the best time to be a fan was this time period. I agree with some of that, but not all of it. The best mic men to come out of the business, or even the guys that are current now, have all learned from that time period for sure. The Rock was skilled. Stone Cold was skilled. Flair was skilled throughout his entire career. Triple H kind of came into his own then. There was so many guys that kind of came around, and they are the true kings and pioneers of cutting a promo. But a lot of people forget that the Attitude Era had a ton of head-scratching situations and shenanigans. A lot of storylines that were scrapped, lost in the shuffle. A lot of wrestlers that became kind of the height of their career and then faded into obscurity. For example, guys like Steve Blackman, great martial arts trained fighter, comes in, has amazing hardcore matches, and then as soon as it changes into the, ruthless aggression era, Steve Blackman disappears. You look at guys like Al Snow, head, walking around with a fucking mannequin head. Height of his career, most popular thing. Everybody would come out with "want some head" just because of the innuendo that was associated with it, but faded into obscurity. I mean, yes, he was a trainer. He was one of the head trainers for the Performance Center and all that stuff. But now, kind of, again, probably enjoying his life from somewhere else. As much as there was so much greatness associated with the Attitude Era, there was a lot of bad stuff. There was a lot of stuff that you sat there like Mae Young gave birth to a hand. Yes. Yep. Yeah. So
I think there was there was an abortion as well with Terry Runnels, right? There was some stuff to forget.
Exactly. Kane had sex with a dead person. I mean, it never aired on TV, but we know what happened. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on the Attitude Era as a whole? I mean, yes, it's a great period of wrestling that we'll cherish and love, but I don't believe it to be the best time period in wrestling. I believe each time period has its own kind of centerpiece. I look back at the 80s with fondness because that's when I grew up with it. I mean, the earliest memories I have is Superfly Snuka jumping off the cage at Madison Square Garden. Then we talk, Hogan, Warrior, WrestleMania 6, the first time WrestleMania was in Toronto. And then it comes back 12 years later for 18. But I hold those memories to myself because those are the memories that I cling to the most. Macho Man getting his arm bit by the snake. There's things that I remember with fondness. much like you probably remember the Attitude Era with fondness. But I mean, do you agree with the Attitude Era being the mecca, the pinnacle of wrestling?
I don't know. I think it put the catchphrases and put a lot of stuff on the map during I was just at the tail end of elementary school during the Attitude Era, like 99, 97 through 99. For me, I was hot on the product from 90 really. I remember, but like you said, with the with Mean Gene, and I was thinking the gobbledygooker because Survivor Series was not that long ago. I was seeing that stuff. I watched that on repeat, man. I love the Rockers. Through 90, I was pretty big on it, and then actually, funny story, and then maybe somebody else could attest to something like this. I had a younger sister. She had a playpen, and I was 3 or 4 years old, and I'm doing Superfly Snuka stuff. Frog splashes off the turnbuckle, my turnbuckle, the playpen. I fell backwards. I broke my collarbone. And so my parents banned me from watching wrestling from anywhere from like I'd say like the 92 to 94 era, and I wasn't allowed to talk about it. I wasn't allowed to watch it. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. So I missed out on some of that stuff. And then I picked right back up on the rise of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Those were my guys. I remember vividly you drawing the hearts, the broken hearts on my long johns and shit like that. And I just 97 actually was my fondest year because the NWO was running rampant on the WCW side. And Bret Hart had done his heel turn, which was big for Canada. So you couldn't help but like root for your Canadian hero. And then the whole screw job, and which we just marked the anniversary of that. I think it was over 23 years now. But I'd say the Attitude Era for pushing the envelope was what got the casual fan back invested in it, because you just never knew what was going to happen. You might see a nip slip on there, or you might see some guy go through a table, stuff that you hadn't seen before. Mick Foley kind of pushed the envelope from the hardcore side, bring that ECW vibe over, and his Cactus Jack. But as I got older, I was always a WWF, WWE guy, more so than an NWO, WCW, Nitro. I didn't do too much flip flopping. I was pretty loyal to the WWF, and then during my teen years was ECW for me. Rob Van Dam was doing some crazy shit that I had never seen before, and that's where I kind of was. And I was a big Rob Van Dam mark. And when he came in 2002, he was the first match on the card. He won the European title from Regal, and that was big for me. I had done the thumbs sign. I had brought the thumb sign to the event. So, and then I guess as you try to chase girls and you try to look your best, wrestling's not so cool anymore, and that's kind of where I lost during my high school years. And I did my best to always watch WrestleMania and try to stay familiar with the product. And I always talk to my friend Danny all the time about what's going on with the business, what's happening, and we try to get together once a year to at least watch WrestleMania. So I can see what's going on. But I like where I am now. I like working with the Battle Arts guys because I'm objective and I ask questions about the product now. I'm like, okay, who's this guy? What does he do? Or what's his gimmick? I feel like the gimmick is lost. And I feel like everybody had a gimmick maybe in the Attitude Era and even those Federation years. And they were good gimmicks. They were good storytellers. Like you said, yes, maybe it isn't ballet, but there is an art form to it. And the psychology is kind of lost. Like there ain't no Jake the Snake's Pit promos anymore. His Rick Martel stuff, like when with the contact in the eye, like some of that stuff resonates still with me, even though it was probably hokey. I was a kid. Papa Shango putting a curse on the Ultimate Warrior and him yakking all over the place, like that hurt me on a Saturday morning.
Yes,
Superstars on CHCH on a Saturday morning, like that was my jam, more so than even I think the Attitude Era. Because it was forbidden fruit even for me. Like I mentioned, I wasn't allowed to watch some of that stuff. So and then you grow up too and you're like, man, why did I like Shawn Michaels? Man, the guy was like in ass chaps, like a village person. And it wasn't, I don't know, like yeah, he was posing in Playgirl, and like I could see why like my older uncles and people that were still invested in the product hated him, and I couldn't understand him. Like he's high flying, he's doing all these things, but yeah, he didn't resonate with that male 18 plus audience. I know that for sure.
No, sir. Yeah, the kids loved him for sure because he was edgy. He was something different. But then I remember, like even when I was a kid, I was like, I don't know if I like the chaps and the dancing around like an idiot. But
yeah,
once we got past the intro, which I mean, still, when you hear you sit there and you go, I'm cool. You sing along whether you want to or not.
Oh yeah.
Your uncles, your old man, they every time they hear the song, even though they hate it, they're probably sitting there going, I'm cool.
I'm just a sexy boy. Yeah, they're driving in traffic.
And everybody does the high pitched part, the sexy boy. Everybody does that shit.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. But
yeah, harmonies.
you remember what he did in the ring, and that's why you appreciate it. You remember the high flying shit. You remember the sweet chin music, which again is just a super kick. But tuning up the band every time he went in the corner, started hitting his foot. You knew it was coming. You're sitting there going, yeah.
So he's gonna do it.
I
remember being devastated when he lost the belt to Psycho Sid at Survivor Series, and I remember because I didn't always go and watch all the pay-per-views because it was late. It was a school night. But so I remember my buddy telling me the next morning that Sean dropped the belt to Sid, and I was devastated. Like, no way he'd lost. The bullshit.
You were so angry. You wanted to write this.
I was angry.
You son of a bitch.
I was not in Sid's world. No, that was not my thing. I was a Bret Mark and definitely Sean, really. And that's why I love that DVD Anthony has it, the Bret versus Sean documentary, and you look at the matches that they've had, and they told great stories, those two in the ring, and that was great. I would have loved, if I could give anything besides Hogan and The Rock, seeing that live, to see Sean and Bret go one more time. I saw them at a live event in '96 or '97. They did a triple threat with Sid. That was just around the time where Sean lost his smile and all that garbage. And now, as you're older now, it was confusing as a kid, and now when you get to hear how much of a dick he was in the back, and it makes a lot of sense. And now I'm more of a Bret guy, looking back on it, and I love how Bret buries everybody he talks to. It's almost like a whole gimmick now. He's still getting over with me because he's burying everybody he used to work with. You're like, who is Bret gonna bury today? Hopefully he buries me. That would be an honor. It's like Rickles when he makes fun of you. If Bret could bury me, that's it'd be a career highlight for me.
Well, when we get back to shows, I'm going to bury you in the ring. Oh!
I'm going to hit you with the mic. That's going to be great. We're going to use foreign objects. I don't care about this protocol about not taking chair shots. You know what? I'll take a bump for you, George. It doesn't matter.
That's okay, man. I'll spear you through a table. We'll both hurt after.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. And again, the Movember Initiative, guys, check out DiscreetGentlemen.com. Buy the products. They are amazing. I've used some of them myself. My sponsor, Ray Bernardo. Shout out to Ray. Don't overpay. Buy from Ray, Road Square Chrysler. He's also used the products and endorsed it. He actually got his own promo code. I'm still waiting for mine. Just saying.
Oh, if you put me over in the ring, maybe you'll get your own promo code.
Maybe I will. Then for that, I might take a dive. I might drop for that one. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. DiscreetGentlemen.com. Every dollar of every product sold goes to the Movember Initiative for men's health.
$1 of every sale.
$1 of every sale goes to mental health, men's mental health, the Movember Initiative. It's a great initiative. It's a great company to get behind. All natural products. Everything's good. Beard oils, scrubs, masks, all that good stuff. It's there. The aluminum-free deodorant, the natural deodorant. It's all there. It's great products. The Tattoo Salve is wonderful, great products by two great individuals. And the Manscaping tool, which is also going to be a great Christmas gift. So, like they said, it's half the cost. Check out the website. Check out all their products. And I'm sure you'll be able to see both of our faces on this website because I'll share the link to them. And they'll most likely put it up on the website because it's going to give them free promo. Understand everything that the company's behind, which is a great thing. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you. And before we go, where else can the audience find your amazing organization? All in a wonderful world of social media.
So yeah, at Discreet Gentlemen is the place to find the latest and the greatest information on what we're doing. The blog is a great place too, on the site where we've featured actually a couple of people from Battle Axe. We got Carew featured on there. Anthony was gracious enough to donate some time, and he's also a big proponent of the product. He's used our body lotion, actually our black salt body lotion, which we didn't get a chance to feature, but Michael D Media on Instagram as well is where I'm putting over our products because we stand behind it. It's not even a sell. Like I said, just try even the soap. You dip your feet in the Discreet Gentleman waters, and because it's not a choice at the end of the day, it's a lifestyle that we're trying to implement. And we feel that once you go discreet, you don't need to talk about it. You just make that switch. You do that heel turn, but for the good, of course.
No, nice segue. Bravo, Michael. Bravo. Maybe it's not going to be so easy to defeat you come the next show, and we'll have to reach out to AC and Dave after. We'll have to see how that can play out. But all I can say
is, work on your vocal exercises. That's all I can say.
I don't need to. I just have a natural born radio voice. Okay.
All right, golden boy. See you in the ring.
All right, man. Go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And again, guys, check out discreetgentlemen.com. Check out all the wonderful products. Purchase, purchase, purchase. Support a local business. Support local. That's important. And also, $1 of every product, $1 from every sale of every product goes towards Movember. They already did it last month for October, and I'm sure they're going to do something great for Christmas as well. There's so many great things. There's Toys for Tots. There's Make-A-Wish. I'm sure they're going to keep doing this charity initiative.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's another thing. Get out at us on our social media, and if you want have a specific charity you want us to feature in December, we're definitely going to do something with the kids. It's about the kids, and they've had a really rough year. And we haven't decided on who our December charity will be. So yeah, like George mentioned, a few there, a triple threat of charities. And if you have one that's near and dear to you, get at us, DM us, and we'll definitely consider it. Absolutely.
Fantastic. As always, that's a classy move from a classy guy, from a classy company, discreetly. Discreet Gentlemen. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching Peace, Love, and Wrestling. See you guys next time. Take care, Mike.
Take care.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next week for another episode on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. Also follow us on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And for all our merchandise, you can search us on ProWrestlingTees.com.